Let me ask you a question that my friends who have lost somebody say is the right question. How are you doing today?
Well, we talked about earlier this week how it was an emotional week for me. The firsts are always so interesting because the firsts are either like your first date, your first kiss, and then with loss, it's like the first birthday, the first holiday.
It was Erika's birthday this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
It was yours too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
This is our birthday celebration together. You guys are all just happening to be here while we have coffee. But every day is different.
Let's sing happy birthday. We sang to you last night.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Poso was so sweet.
Sorry, 2 nights ago. Why don't, may we? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Erika. Happy birthday to you. Many more.
I told myself I wasn't going to cry. Hard not to.
So this was the first one. And you're right, the first, and we're about to go into a season of firsts, which is always challenging.
And I know you can relate to this because you lost your father at a really young age. Every day is different. But I am so grateful that my husband, he's hand-selected the village that surrounds me now. He built Turning Point USA, yes, and it's a machine, yes, but he handpicked all of the people that not only run the organization, but that were within our orbit, our closest orbit, the people that he loved and he trusted so much, and that he knew without a shadow of a doubt, if something happened to him, that they would step up and they would be filled with the Holy Spirit and they would do what he knew they were born to do. And they wouldn't be afraid, they wouldn't cower, they would take on the mission that he had instilled in them. And so to be able to have that chosen family in that village that he helped literally handpick, I could not do a fraction of a fraction.
They've been amazing. Turning Point is in such good hands. Yes, obviously with you as the CEO, but the team that you have around you, all of whom I've met, are good and decent and loving people who adored Charlie.
They loved him.
Let's go back before we get into your relationship with him and your future to you. Because I think people are very curious about you. I think they want to know more about you. So I know that obviously you were Miss Arizona. Hello. Nicely done. Good, very, very top selection. And that you were a businesswoman in New York when you first got interested in Turning Point. So what were you doing in New York?
So to go back a little bit further, right now, first and foremost, I'm a daughter to the King, to the Most High. That's the most important title, if you will. And my husband, in August, before all this happened, he had a event where he had some donors at. And one of the first questions they asked was, God forbid if something happens to you, like what would happen next to Turning Point? And Charlie made a really interesting point. He said, companies, example, Apple, Macintosh, he said they're founder-led. He said, but what I have built will one day, if I'm not around, be vision-led. And he had made mention at the end, Erika will do a great job running it. And when I watched that video this week, it really put into perspective my youth and what I went through growing up and what I witnessed, my mom having her own company and being a single mother and watching her be the blueprint of, I'm not afraid of raising my children alone because I I saw my mom do that. I'm not afraid of being a CEO because I saw my mom do that. The only thing that I fear, to be fully transparent with you, is being out of the alignment of God's will, because I feel like that is a very dangerous position to be in. And so for me, growing up, when I was in New York, it was one of those moments where I really trusted God. That's where I needed to be. I prayed on it at first because originally I was living in LA. And I said, Lord, if this is where you need me to be, make it so clear. Bought a one-way ticket to New York. One suitcase, my mom was like, what are you going to do when you're there? I was like, I'll figure it out once I get there. I just know that's where the Lord needs me. And so many people question that. They said, you're such a strong Christian. Why would you go to such a dark city? And I said, the more that you take the light out of a dark place, the darker it gets. So that's where I'm going. And I was there, and
yeah. But when I moved to New York, my brother said, why would you want to move to New York? And I said, it's the big city of dreams. And he said, scary, nasty, wake up in the middle of the night screaming dreams. So I get it.
Right.
But so you were working in New York for a while, and then you went back to Arizona to apply for the Turning Point job?
No, so I was in New York. I was a casting director. I was signed with a modeling agency. I had just gotten my real estate license 3 months prior to meeting Charlie. And rewind a little bit, I went to Turning Point's office opening for their first building. And Tyler he runs Turning Point Action now. And he said, you need to meet the CEO. I said, okay, great. Met him very quickly, shook his hand, said, hi, nice to meet you. Neither of us thought anything of it. Looking back now, he apparently sat down with Tyler and said, we need to hire, or Tyler said, we need to hire her. And he goes, mm-hmm. And he's like, where'd she live? And Tyler said, New York. He's like, okay, I'm going to have a Fox News hit, and then I'm going to sit down with her and interview her in New York. So lo and behold, he comes to Manhattan, and I thought, I was so career-minded. My mother raised me to, and this is why I can relate a lot to the Manhattan mindset of a lot of young women, where it's career-oriented, because my mom used to tell me, don't feel like you need to rely on a man for life and work. And so my mindset, my healthy marriage example was my grandparents. But my mindset was career, career, career. When I met Charlie, the only reason I sat down with him, because I thought it was a consulting position for work. I did not date in Manhattan. I saw the pits of hell of the dating pool through my roommates, and I was not touching that with any longest pole you can imagine. I stayed far away from the dating pool in Manhattan. So I viewed it as obviously the job interview that it was supposed to be. And the Lord knew. Charlie, in some way, similar to how, he sees things in a lot of people, in some way, beautifully saved me from a huge mistake of putting career over family and career over husband, because it's easy to do when, as a female, when you see bright lights, big city. Yeah. But the Lord used him. The Lord used him for me.
How long did it take you to fall in love with him?
That's the funny thing, is it's so interesting, because when we were sitting there, I fell in love with how brilliant he was to be able to articulate what he believed in. And when he said, I'm not going to hire you, I'm going to date you, I knew that was the Lord, because there were so many times where I said, my future husband that's out there, it will be, the only reason why I look up is because the Lord says to look up, and that was something to look up to when someone's like, I'm going to date you. And so but honestly, it was the constant consistency of, I'm here for you. The little texts in the morning, and then it just continued to grow. in a beautiful way. So yes, love at first sight, yes, obviously, but again, my mindset wasn't there. His was. Yeah. So you think of it, you're in an interview, you have to totally do a 180 of a mindset. But I honestly, where like the depths of the love started was when we were playing basketball together at the gym, just shooting around together.
By the time we saw that video where he introduced you as his fiance, and the two of you were staring at each other.
Oh, I was obsessed. I'm still obsessed
Could not
with him.
break
Yeah.
your gaze. I mean, that's, I think as the kids would say, hashtag goals. My friend just lost her ring. She went to replace it. She realized it was a gold ring. The price of it has gone up like 25% since she bought the ring a year ago. That's because gold is on the march upward. And it is the one time of year that Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right, for Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, Birch Gold will send free gold to your home for every $20,000 purchased. Gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce. By October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. Why? Global uncertainty. 2025 has been defined by trade wars, central banks are pulling from the US dollar as the global reserve currency, and military tension continues to build. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty, and if you are looking to diversify your savings, Birch Gold can help you. Plus, now through November 30th, get free gold, I say, with a qualifying purchase. Just text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and for a free info kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with purchase will end on November 30th, so don't wait. Text MK to the number 989898 for full details. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.